Hi, this is Mel from MelPinkBuJo, and I created these two sketchbooks for the birthday of my niece, and I show you how I created them. So I show you the differences, all the details. So they are made from food packaging and from some old trousers and old jeans and out of this crochet. On the inside, they are nearly the same. They have this golden lined coloring book pages, and they have sketchbook paper. As you can see here, I used some golden thread. This book does not lie flat perfectly, but I think it's okay, and you have a little bit of the fabric visible between the signatures. Oops. And as you can see here, these signatures are more with a bit of space between them, and these are not, because I did a 3-hole pamphlet stitch visible binding technique for this journal and a hidden binding technique for this journal, and I used the coptic stitch method for this journal. So, as I said, on the inside they have scrapbooking paper, not scrapbooking, sketchbook paper. This is the back. And I put on some golden metal corner protector edges for this journal. And this journal, this was the trousers I loved the most, but it got ripped. So it got a new life. This is the back. This is the inside. So this golden coloring book page again, crochet. And then this was one of my favorite trousers too. And then, as you will see here, I glued it in. So I glued the whole, not text block, but book pages, the whole signatures into this journal, and they're not perfect. I cut them to size, but I did something not perfect during the binding process, but I don't mind. I like it to look handmade. It should not look like it was bought in a shop. So, but back to the journal. This is the inside first page, and I used the coptic stitch binding method. I hope you can see it a bit. And I will link the video, the tutorial I used, down below in the info box, because I cannot show you a tutorial because I'm not so good in this technique. And this is the middle. And the difference is this journal will lay really, really flat. And it looks a bit different in between the signatures. So you have a little gap too, but you see the binding, and you do not see the binding here. And this is the back. So I will show you the creating process of the covers. So for this cover, and this cover was the same, only using a bit different of fabric. And I will show you the whole creating process for this book, including the binding process and a bit of the process for this book too. So stay tuned for the following video. Like and subscribe for more junk journal, bullet journal, crafting and creating videos. So I will start this project by using this sketchbook. This is A3 size. It's 130 GSM acid-free paper, and it's a sketchbook. And I want to use 100, or I want to get 100 pages. So because it's A3 size, so very big, I need, let's see, I will cut it in half so that I have A4 size of paper, and then I will fold it so that I have A5 size. So one sheet of paper, or let's say I cut this in half, so one sheet of A5 size paper will give me 4 pages. So I will do a pack of, let's see, 5 pages, I think. 5 sheets of paper, so that I will receive 20 pages, and then I will do 5 signatures. So then I will get 100 sorry that I will get 100 pages for every journal. So I will just cut them to size, and then I will cut them to size and fold them, and then I will be right back. So now I have a nice stack of nearly A4 size paper. It's not perfectly cut, but it doesn't matter, because when I fold them this direction in half, they will stick out a bit at the side, because it's very thick paper. And when I fold it and I put 5 of these pages together for one signature, to 5 of the sheets of paper to get 20 pages, then the pages will stick out a little bit, and I want to cut them apart with my craft knife, so that I get a nice clear edge. And it doesn't matter if it's really A5 size or another size, because I create a cover and a journal on my liking, so I don't have to do it on a specific measurement, to say so. So I will just fold them in half, and then see you again later. So here we have 5 signatures, which contain 5 papers, 5 sheets of papers each. So one sheet of paper gives me 4 pages, front and back, as I said. So this will be the inside of the first journal, and you can see here what I meant before. These pages or these papers are sticking out a bit. If you don't mind, you can leave it as it is. But for this project, I want to cut them to how do you call it? To shape, so that they don't stick out this much. So I will use my cutting mat, my metal ruler, and my craft knife to do this, and I will do it signature by signature. So let's put these away. So you have to stack them together very, very good. And maybe you want to use some clips to hold them in place. Then you put on your ruler, straight was the word I was searching for. And then you use your craft knife and just go slowly. Oh, sorry for the noise, it's the neighbors, I think, outside. And then you just go slowly along at your ruler. I don't know what they are doing. Sorry for the noise again. We will see again in a moment. I will speed this process up a bit. So you can leave it like it is. Just double checking, or you can use your sanding block and sand the edges a bit. I have not decided if I will do this. And of course you can put on your clips on the sides, and you can cut this to size 2. I think in this case I don't need it. I will just cut apart the rest of these pages, and then I will be right back. So all my 5 signatures are cut to size. They are not perfect, but I don't mind. I like it this way. I like it to be a bit imperfect, so that you can see it's handmade and not bought and not made by a machine. So the next step will be creating a cover for our inserts. So you could reuse a book, or like in this case, it's a bullet journal. There are no pages in here because I used them all up. And you can just use this cover, decorate it a bit, paint it, or make a collage or glue on some fabric, which I will do, I think, and put it in here. So this would fit okay, but I don't like this space for this project. Usually I don't mind, but for this project I wanted to be it another way. So this is an old journal too. Here are just a few pages in I have to remove, but I will create my own cover out of some food packaging. I pulled out a few things to show you. So you can reuse food packaging. You can reuse other cardstock. So this is, for example, from a notebook I bought, and it came in this cardstock package. I can reuse this, and if it's not stable enough, you can just glue on 2 or 3 or even more pieces onto each other. And this is the backing of a paper pad. It's not stable enough for me too, because I want to have a really sturdy cardstock cover, hardcover. So I think I will use just the 3 of these and layer them together. So you can measure it out, or you can just put your paper onto your cardstock for the cover. You can put it right to the edge, or you can leave a little gap. It just occurs on, depends on what you like. And then you put on some marks and cut it apart. Yes, this fits my needs perfectly. So it is just, the cover is just slightly bigger than my pages are. So they are protected, but you have not this much space left. And I will use this shape for the other cardstocks, track around, and then cut them to size. And if they are not the perfect same size, oh, let's focus. Sorry for that. If the pieces are not the perfectly same size, it doesn't matter. This is why I cut it a bit bigger. So you can, like you can see here, I cut this a tiny little bit too wide, and I can just, when I glued them together, I can just cut this part off again. So I will do the rest without the camera, and I will be right back. So these are the cardstocks I cut to size. I cut 6 of them to size, and I will just sandwich them together so that I have the not printed parts and not the black part at the outside, but the white or the gray maybe. So because I want to use some fabric and glue it on, and I will glue my pieces together using my Fabri-Fix or Fabri-Tac. It's the same glue. It's a clear silicone glue. You can glue together paper on paper, fabric on fabric, and fabric on paper, and it's very quick drying and very, very stable, or strong to say so. So let's see. And then, as I said before, when you have something, some of your cardstock hanging over a bit, you can just cut it to size with your craft knife, or even with a scissor or anything like this. So sometimes I like to use scissors, but in this case I think I will use a craft knife, or you can even let it be as it is. It doesn't matter. It does not have to be perfect at all. So the covers are ready. Now we need a spine. And this was a perfect spine width. So let's see. This is about nearly 2.5 centimeters. I think 2.5 centimeters will be perfect. So I have 5 signatures. When I have 2.5 centimeters, I will have enough space to bind them in. So I will do the same thing as I did here. So the same heights and 2.5 centimeters width. And I will just use some of my leftover pieces from the cardstock I already used. So this is too small, but maybe something of these parts. So in this case, I used 2 pieces of black cardstock and 1 piece of this gray cardstock, but it doesn't matter. This will be my inner piece. It's very important to leave a little gap from my maybe 5 millimeters or so that your spine or your cover is not so strong, so that your spine. So this gap is for opening and closing the covers really easy. And for me, it doesn't matter that the inside is gray, white, and black, because I will cover it up with some fabric, or for the inside, maybe I will use, or usually I use some fabric over here, and I can use a double amount of fabric so that this is not shining through. Or you can put some paper onto it. You can wrap it in paper. Maybe I will do something like this. We will see. And the outside is, let's see, I think this will be my outside. So it's really nearly the same cover as the same color for the 3 pieces. So if I use a bit of a thinner fabric, it will not look different, but it will look very clear. But I did cover my covers, so my cardstocks, in some white paper before, so you can do different things. So now I will search for fabric I will use, because I want these 2 journals to be pink. So these are the fabrics I pulled out. So some old trousers. I already used the legs. And the thing is, you already know what I used because I showed you in the intro, but I don't know. This is more kind of lilac. Don't know. I thought maybe something like this for the inside. Then I have these, what is called mesh. No, it's not mesh. But this kind of fabric, which is shining through, so I would have to put something under. I thought maybe some of these little fabrics with acrylic yellow paint on it, and here's some gold for the inside. So for this part maybe. And I have some more trousers. This is a very bright pink. It does not show up very well in the camera. I really love these trousers, but unfortunately this zipper is broken or ripped, and I cannot attach a new one, so I will use this trousers for crafting. And then I have this fabric, so I will try to find out which fabrics I want to use, cut them to size, and then I will be right back. I decided to reuse these trousers, so the back of these trousers, and I cut out 2 parts. So the front is already intact for other projects. I cut out these 2 parts. Usually let's see, this is our spine. Leave a little gap. Usually I would use a fabric which is in one go. So one big piece of fabric, but I did not have the color I want to use for this project. So I will just put on the fabric for the two covers separately, and then I will use a bigger sheet of fabric, so maybe this one or a part of this one. I will show you in a moment. So first of all, let's glue on these fabrics onto our covers. So if you have a very thin fabric, you want to smoosh the glue out a bit. It's already drying. Oops, started to dry. You can just use your finger, or you can use a silicone brush. But I think this fabric is big enough so that the glue will not seep through. I hope so. Otherwise I would have to decorate the outside a bit further, but I worked with this fabric a time ago. Oh, this is just some leftovers from my baking paper. So as you can see, here's no glue seepage, so I think it will be okay. So let's do the other side, the other cover part, and then we will wrap this around. Second part is glued on. So now you will have to let it hang over for this fabric for maybe, let's say, 2 centimeters or so. I will just eyeball and cut it a bit to size. And maybe I can even rip it. Let's see. And I keep this little offcuts for other crafting projects. Okay, ripping is not the best idea, because then your fabric maybe will move when the glue is not dried perfectly. But it doesn't matter, everything is okay. And then I like to cut the edges. You can cut them like this, or you can cut them a bit at an angle. I will try to cut them at an angle and leave a tiny little bit of fabric here, so maybe something like 5 millimeters or so. And these parts I throw away. I don't know what to use them for. Maybe you use them for other projects. Then please tell me in the comments what you do with these tiny little snippets. So now I glue on these overlapping parts. I just have to find my bone folder. Found it. So you can begin at the longer sides or at the shorter sides, it doesn't matter. So now for the edges, as you might see, this is sticking out a bit, this fabric. So I have to work quick because of the drying time of the glue. This is a tricky part, so I have to put on a bit of glue right on the edge. I think this will be okay. So then I try to glue in the edge first and then the fabric. So sometimes it works out better, sometimes it's not this perfect, but I don't mind perfection. So the edge is covered. For me, this is the result I wanted to get. So let's move on to the other sides. and you can push in your edges with your bone folder. So the first cover is covered, the first part of the cover, so the front or the back cover, it doesn't matter. So for me, this is okay. Yes, I like it very much. And I will do the other cover part without the camera. So both cover parts are covered up. I had a tiny little bit of glue seepage, no, not seepage, but a bit of glue on the outside here, because I had some glue on the baking paper to protect my table. But it doesn't matter. In this case, you can cover it up later. You cannot, you will not get it out of your fabric, but you can cover it up later. Yeah, and I will do this. And I have a tiny little bit of gold here. I don't know if you can see, but I love it very much. Maybe I can do something with gold. We will see. And I decided to use this fabric to combine the two covers. So where's my spine gone? Spine, where are you? Searching for my spine. Wait a few moments. Found it. It was not laying where it's supposed to be. So, but anyway, excuse me. So, let's see. I want to find out if this fabric wide enough. It is wide enough. I want to find out if it's shining through too much. Okay, this was the wrong way around. So this way. So this will be our cover. I think it's a bit too thin. It's not this thin, but maybe a bit too thin. So maybe I will use 2 layers of it. Yes, I think so. I will use 2 layers of it. So let's see. I want to put it a bit into here, to fold it over, and I need it to be a bit wider than the spine, of course, so that it the two things will stay together. The 2 covers and the spine will stay together. And I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing. And to get a clear edge at the end, I will use some, how do you call it? Trim? I think you call it trim. It's not necessary, I just like the look of it. So let's see. So I will start with I think I will start with the spine. So let's see, this has to be covered up, so I have to glue this part. Can't think. So this has to be covered up. Oh yeah, okay. Yes, so that I will have to glue on the spine. Yes, and then I will glue on the other parts this way around. Yes, okay, have it. Sorry for that. So let's just glue it on. This time I will smoosh it out a bit because the fabric is a bit thinner and I don't want these glue lines to be visible. And I will just place it in the middle, just eyeballing. And of course I have to glue on the second layer of the fabric later too. But for the moment I will do only the 1 layer of fabric. As you might see, I left a little gap. I did not glue right through the edge of my covering fabric because I can always do this later. Oh, so leave a little gap from maybe 5 millimeters. So I will have a bit fabric left, but I will glue this on later. As you can see here, a bit left. I will do this later because if my glue would seep out or go over on my cover, so I would have to cover up more space, and I wanted to avoid this. So this is why I glue it on part for part, to say so. And the glue is very, very, what did I say before? It's drying very quick. So this is why I work my way part for part, to say so. I have some glue on my finger. You can just rub this off. This is a good thing about fabric fix glue. So it's the same for the other part, and I will be right back in a moment. So the second cover piece is glued on, and now you can use your bone folder again. Make sure it's nice and clean, not as mine. Then you go to your gaps, and you can go over your fabric so that the fabric is glued on at the gaps. So on these edges, not the gaps, as well. I don't put glue into the gaps. Some people do this. I don't like it because I think the cover is then too tough, too sticking. I like it to be flexible, and it will not stay this flexible, of course. So now, as you can see here, I did not go to the edge as well. I will do it off camera because it's nothing so special to show. And then I will glue on this second piece of fabric the same way I did before, and then I will be right back when we are covering the inside. Okay, I'm back again. I just glued on the second piece of fabric onto the first piece. Now I have my gap here, so I glued right to the gap, but not into the gap because, as I said, I don't like it. You can do it, I don't like it. Now I will search for the ends of the cover, glue on this part, then this part, and then this little edges, and then we will see again. Now everything is glued in place. So the next step will be gluing this fabric onto the inside. So again, I will not put glue into the gaps. You can put it into the gaps, but as I said before, I don't like it in my projects. So now everything is glued in place. This is how our cover looks so far. You could glue your, let me show you. You could do a hidden spine, how is it called, a hidden spine binding technique. I think it's called hidden spine. So you could do a hidden spine, so you would stitch your papers onto a spine piece and glue it into your cover. But for this journal, I will do the usual junk journal 3-hole pamphlet stitch binding, and I will just punch holes through the spine so that you will be able to see the binding, because I like the look of it. And I think I will decorate the cover a tiny bit, but not too much, because it's supposed to be a sketchbook and it's supposed to be more functional. So let's see. I want to see if I have something to glue onto here. So a little bit of, what do you call it, a trim or something. So I thought maybe this would work. I can leave it as it is, so like this, with this little frayed edges. I like the look of it, and it's not frayed at the back side, but it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. To be honest, it's too plain for me. So it's supposed to be a present, but I have to do a little bit more MelPinkBuJo style. Oh yes, I like this very much. Oh yes, I think I will do this. Maybe I will put on some golden or metal corner protectors. Don't know yet. I could put on a nameplate. Okay. If you want to add closure, you would have to do it by now, or it would be better to do it by now before you put your signatures in, and especially before you put your inside cover in, because then you would be able to hide the, maybe you will use an elastic band over here, only a little piece, and a button or a Tim Holtz hitch fastener or any something like this for the front cover, and then you have this knots from putting on your elastic and your button, to say so, for example, and then you could hide this a little bit. So I will not do a closure for this book because it's supposed to be a sketchbook and I don't want anything that stands out. You could put into some 2 holes and apply an elastic which goes from the top to the bottom, but I will not do this either. So as I said, this journal will not get any closure. If I want to put on this metal corner protectors, I will do it at the end. I'm just thinking if it would be better to put on the trim right now, or no, I will put it on at the end or not. Okay, I will figure it out. The next step for me will be figuring out which things I want to have to cover the inside. Of course, I could have used a longer piece of fabric so that it would be able to cover the whole inside, but I want something else for the inside. So let's see. I have this very thin fabric, so I would have to use a double amount of it again, which is totally fine with frayed edges, or I could put some over like this. I don't want to have too much bulk adding to the journal, or I could use them. I like the frayed edges look. Maybe this, and you can put on fabrics, you can put on scrapbooking paper. I think I want to put on some scrapbooking paper for the inside covers, and this fabric at the top, so a little smaller piece, so maybe the width as the same width as I used here. Let it hang over a little bit, or I have, let me show you some of this too. I like them very much too. It's not flat now. I don't like it for this journal. And the pink, it's more violet, lilac. It does not go well with this color. Okay. I will use this. So you have 3 shades of pink. This very dark pink, a more bright pink, and this very light pink, and a bit of yellow and green. Yes, I love this very much. Okay, now I have to figure out what I want to put into my covers. The person who ordered this journal, which is my sister, wanted to have yellow with this pink, but blue and this golden coloring book pages. So we decided we will use this golden coloring book pages for the inside, and some jeans. I cut all the things to size. I think it looks a bit darker than it is. It's a dark blue, but not as black as the camera shows. So I will just glue these pieces into my book. And as you can see, I leave a little space on the edges. You can glue your inner covers, so if it's scrapbooking paper or fabric, just right to the edges. You can let it hang over. Maybe you have a fabric, you want to fray the edges. You can do a lot different things, a lot different kinds of stuff. But I like, for this book, I like it, I like the, what do you call it, the corners, the sides to be a bit visible. I am trying to center the middle piece, the middle fabric, so in this case this jeans fabric, but I just eyeball. So as you can see, it's not perfect, but this is what I like about creating journals, even if I try to be a bit more perfectionist than I am usually. But for me it's fine when it's not a totally millimeter safe perfect, because it's handmade, and it's totally fine if you can see that it's handmade. So like here is a little bit of too much glue. Okay, safe. So now for the edges, I work my way through. You can put your glue onto here or onto the fabric. I think I will start with the inside of the cover and then glue the rest of the fabric down right onto the fabric. And again, I try to avoid putting glue into the gap. As I said before, it's no big deal. It's just that I don't like it. You don't have to glue your flaps down. You can leave them as they are, maybe not this much, but you can glue down only a centimeter or so that you have a little bit of this moving. I like this very much too, but for this journal I will try to make it as safe and even as possible, but with a touch of handmade. And as you can see here, the cover gets much more stabilized just by putting on this fabric, or you can use scrapbooking paper as well. I think I said it before, I like fabric more because of its flexibility, and I like to put scrapbooking paper into here because I can cut it more straight. But you can use both materials. And I did not put any glue into the gaps, but the cover gets very stable. And I will use some of this lace. I think you call it crochet lace or something, just to finish the journal, to give it a bit more depth, to say so. So let's see if I can adjust the light a bit. Okay, I think this is better maybe. So as you can see, I did not cover up these parts, so these two fabrics where they are attached together, but this was not the aim to cover up anything, just to give it a bit more. I don't like this shaped edges. I like it a bit more unstructured, to say so. So let this dry for a few moments, because of the structure. Because of the structure, the glue will seep through a bit, but it's already dried enough. So let's flip it over and hope for the best. No, everything is fine. Okay, this is way too much fabric, but doesn't matter. I will just cut it off and use the rest for other projects. So I want this to overlap a tiny little bit, so maybe a centimeter. So let's see. Okay. I have to glue it on a bit more on this side. Just take your time and work your way through your journal creation process. As I said, I will keep these for other projects, or maybe for some fabric clusters or something. So this is very grumpy, this is very straight. Okay, but I just will let it be as it is. It's glued down. I can change nothing on it, but I like it. I like this look better. This is more me. This is not so much me, but it's totally okay. It's totally fine. Sometimes it is as it is. I really love this book. This is the thing with the books I create. I create them and I love them and I give them away. I cannot use them all by myself, but it's every time, oh, I love it so much, I have to give it away. But this is the fine part, because I give it away to people I like, or to people who like these journals as much as I do. So it's totally fine. Okay, so cover is ready. The next step, the next step will be binding in our signatures. So I will use the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, as I said. So let's see. You can use the template, you can eyeball it. I think I will not do anything of it. I will do it like this. So okay, I see where my cover and where my spine ends. I think I will just use my ruler. Don't punch your, I will punch holes. Don't punch your holes into your gaps. This is important. So my spine is 3 centimeters. And I will try to put my holes as even as I can without using a template, because I'm no big template girl, to be honest. Yes, 3 centimeters. So maybe at every 5 millimeters. Yes, this would be perfect. Okay, I have to go wash my hands. I have to wash the glue off, and then I will show you the next step. So next step is binding in our signatures. So I will punch some holes with my little hole puncher tool. I think it's called awl. Pokey stick or something like this. So let's see, our cover is about 22 centimeters high. I think I will start 1.5 centimeter from the top and 1.5 centimeter from the bottom. Oh, I will do it another way. So this is the leftover piece of paper. Fold it in the middle. And then fold it, or maybe 2 centimeters, and then fold it 2 centimeters from the top and the bottom in one go. So this will be a kind of a template for me, so that the holes are evenly spaced. So this will give me a guidance for the height of the holes, and then I will just measure it. And I will use this kind of template, to say so, for my signatures as well, so that the holes are evenly spaced, they are in the same direction and everything. So now I will punch these holes, so this 3 holes from top to bottom and 5 holes from left to right or front to back, just right through the cover. So that's it. See, I punched the holes right through the cover. So this is the inside. So now I will do the same for the signatures. I want to use this gold thread. Usually I use waxed cord, or I use cord or some kind of string and wax it by myself, so like embroidery floss. But this is very, very stable. You cannot it's very, very strong, so I will use this. It's just much of fraying at the edges, so if you want to bead it, so put some beads on this string, this won't work out very well. But for this project, to bind in the signatures, I think it will work out well. And I like that it's cohesive with this gold on the inside. So you need 3 times the length string, 3 times the length of your journal. So 3 times is more than enough. Then it doesn't matter if you start on the outside or on the back part or the front part. The first hole, the last hole, it doesn't matter. I like to start in the middle. Leave a tail. Then go into your middle hole of your first or last signature. Pull the thread all the way through, leaving this little tail. And I have the same amount of centimeters from the top and the bottom. So if you have maybe you will have an eyelet over here in the cover, and you will start your top signatures, so the top holes over here. So then you have to look which direction your signatures are, but in this case it doesn't matter. Then the bottom or the top hole doesn't matter again. All the way through the last hole. And then back to the middle hole. Then it's important so that you have one tail on every side of this middle string. Pull it tight. Don't rip it. Don't rip the paper, but pull it very tight. Double check. Yes. Then tie a knot. I like to do a square knot, so left over right, right over left, and maybe a third time. And then cut off your string. I will leave a little hanging over, so the person who gets this journal can decide if she wants it a bit shorter, or maybe something like this. So first signature is bound in, and I will repeat these steps for the last 4 signatures, and then I will be right back with the finished journal. So this is the first of the two sketchbooks I create with this freehole pamphlet stitch and the visible binding. Maybe I will put on some golden edges. I have not decided yet. The inside. And it does not lay flat perfectly, but I think it's okay. And between the two signatures you will be able, or you are able, to see a bit of this jeans fabric. So the next thing will be creating the second sketchbook. So this is the second journal cover I just wanted to show you, and I have still sitting a little bit of glue onto my fingers, and I'm wearing my very first press-on nails. So I think I will try this out again. But anyway, so this is the cover. This was some of my favorite trousers, but the zipper got ripped. This is some jeans. This is the same, let me show you, the same crochet again. The bag, it will stay as it is, just blank. The back, the spine, sorry. This is the back, and this is the inside so far. So I use, this is another of my favorite trousers, which is no longer wearable. It's just teared off. So, and I put in some of these gold, how do you call it, gold outline color book pages. And I really love this golden edges. So sorry for the reflection. I will move it a bit over. So the next step will be getting these signatures into. So I could just put them into here like I did before with this freehole pamphlet stitch binding and the visible binding technique, so that you would have this middle sections and this sections. But as I said before, I want to do a coptic stitch binding method by now. So you bind your signatures one to each other. So this signature will be bound to this signature, to this, to this, to this, so that you have it more flattened out. Oh, I just thought maybe my spine is a bit too wide. But it doesn't matter, I think. So I cannot show you the process because I have to watch a video to do this, because I don't did this very often before. But I will link the video I used, the tutorial I used, down below in the info box. Then I will have a text block or a pages block, a signature block to say so. And I will just glue it right down into my spine. And I will show you this process later. These are the papers, coptic stitched together, and as I said, I will link the tutorial I used down below in the info box. So the next step will be gluing this block of signatures into my cover, and as you might see, I made the cover a bit too wide. It shouldn't. It would be okay if it would have been a bit smaller, or not so wide, but it doesn't matter. And you can glue the text block or the page block into here just like this. But I want to stabilize this structure a bit. So you can use a bit of paper and just glue it onto here. The usual bookbinding method would be putting a piece of paper over here, I think this far, and then let it overlap onto here so that it's more sturdy, and then you glue it in and using some whole page paper for here and here. But I don't want to do it this way, but I thought instead of using a paper, I would love to use some of this fabric from the inside again. And I would like to glue it on like this, so let it overhang a bit, so just for the look of it. So it would look like this. So the first page and the last page would have a little bit of fabric, and then when you open up your book, it lies really, really flat. So this is what we got so far. This is for stabilization and for decoration. I just checked the glue seepage between the spaces. From my opinion, it's totally okay. It's totally fine. It's seeping a bit too much here, but I don't mind, to be honest. It's no big deal for me. Maybe I will let this dry a little bit more. So now it's all dried. The last step will be gluing these signatures into our cover. Where's my cover? Searching for my cover. Wait a minute. Found it. Here it is. So. Okay, I think I nearly found the middle, not perfectly, but it's okay. So now I have to press this in very good. Just double check. You can move it around when you use Fabri-Fix or Fabri-Tac glue for a few seconds, maybe a minute, something like this. Yes, this is okay for me, not perfect, but totally fine. So I'm just using my bone folder to try to get it smooth into. Just pressing it down a bit here and there. I will put this aside like this and put some books onto the left and the right side so that it can dry in this direction for a few more minutes. Just putting it down very tight into the cover, into the spine. So I will just let this dry and then I will be back in a few minutes. Then I will be back in a few minutes for you in just a moment. Final step, I decided to put on some of these golden metal corner protectors, these golden edges, just to give the journal a little bit of extra something.